my face. When I come around, they tell me it look like I caught a case. But you know I told them, take my whole body, I don't give a fuck.
Right. Yeah.
So like it.
It's more focused on the, like marketability and playability of the show rather than like the talent.
And they want they want you to have a sob story. They want you to be like a guy who cleans toilets at the rec center who has an amazing voice, not somebody who's been like working for a decade on their music career.
Right. Yeah.
So like, and the whole concept of like, because we did our audition and then they liked us and we had to go on the TV. They make it look like you just get up and go in front of the judges, the celebrity judges, and like. That's your audition.
Yeah.
No, like you audition for like 5 rounds of producers. It takes an entire day in the convention center and wherever. We were in Columbus. And then you just like, you spend half the day just waiting and waiting. And they just narrow you down until you're finally, it's like midnight and you're going on in front of, you've been performing this song for the last fucking 8 hours.
Yeah.
And you go and you're exhausted. You've been doing this all day, and then the main producers are in this room, and then they like decide like, oh, we like you. So then we'll spend another hour of you guys filling out paperwork. We'll take like continuity photos of you. We had to come back the next day and pretend like we were actually auditioning for the first time with a big camera crew with us, following us around, telling us like, you guys need a secret handshake. And so we had to make up some fake secret handshake. It was like so like fake and not. Well, I fucking hated it. And then they told us like, okay, well, we can't guarantee you're going to be on the show, but you can't change your appearance at all for the next 6 months. You can't get rid of these clothes. You got to have to wear this exact same outfit. Like and I was just like, fuck this.
This is not for me. It's just not real.
No. And my integrity level was way higher than like, I don't want to be that guy from season whatever of whatever show.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be like the thing I'm remembered for.
Right.
I want people to, like, I would rather build this shit organically and just like see where it goes.
And have a solid core of fans and an audience that like you for you, not oh, I like this guy because I saw him on American and like I found that guy and he should have been like the winner, like,
and
you know what I mean?
Like
Stuff
that's
like
what people are gonna talk about me for the rest of my career. Like I didn't want to make that my thing. Plus like they ended up not taking us anyway, so it would have been a total waste. There was another duo group because Jess and I performed as a duo, and there was another duo that were like fraternal twins, like a girl and a guy that had like the exact same style, and so they picked them because they were related and they were brother and sister rather than like
there's more of a heartwarming story behind that they could create,
pull their baby pictures up and stuff like
exactly.
So yeah, it
they've
just
been making music since they were 4 years old.
Children, so it was what it was. It was an experience that I'm glad I did because I learned a lot from it, but at the same time, like I'm glad that it didn't pan out to be what it, what most people would want it to be.
Right. Yeah. I was sitting here trying to be like, all right, how can I
segue this?
How can I segue this? And I was like, I don't got anything.
All right, well, I wasn't going to be allowed to get any tattoos for the next
there we go. There we go. That's a good jumping off point. So like, you wouldn't have been able to, you said like 6 months, you wouldn't have been able to
at least 6 months. It was like either 6 months or like a year because it was like in the fall, and then the following summer would have been when we did our celebrity performance, like in front of the celebrity judges.
Yeah.
So that would have been probably about like 8 months.
And you wouldn't have been able to like change your hair, get any tattoos,
nothing.
Any piercing changes.
No, and I was like at the point in time in my life where I was ready to just like get that shit off. You know what I'm saying? So I had to just say sorry.
Did you end up getting anything around that time, like afterwards in terms of ink?
I believe at that point in time I didn't have my forearm done. Because I have a full sleeve, and I started with just my half sleeve. That's a whole story in and of itself. But I wanted to get the sleeve finished, and when they said like, "Oh, you can't get any new tattoos or anything," I'm like, "Well, fuck me,
I can't finish this."
Yeah.
So okay, let's just do a run through real quick because I honestly actually have no idea what you have or where. So like, give me a rundown of what all you've got.
Okay, so I've got full sleeve. I got it in 2 parts. So I basically just got like the half sleeve, and then I got the forearm.
Is there like a theme, or what's the concept?
It's like all one big piece. I have a 9-tailed fox up here, and then basically the way that it works is like from my elbow down as if I like dipped my arm into water. So the fox is like coming up to water, And then under the water, there's a catfish here. And then I don't know if you've ever heard of the game Link's Awakening. It's a Zelda game for Game Boy.
Yeah.
But the windfish, it's like a whale with wings and like a headdress and a saddle and stuff. Mm-hmm. I have that on like the other side of my forearm. Then I have a heartogram on the back of my left hand.
I knew that one.
Yeah. I've got Play Dead on my knuckles. I've got a Coco Pelli right here. And then I did a stick and poke on myself that says everything is all right here. That was the first tattoo I ever did on myself. And then I have a heartogram here that I did stick and poke as well. And then I have Roman numerals of the year I was born here. And then I have another stick and poke that a girl did on me in Phoenix that's just a little heart right there. Mm. And that's, I think, all of them.
So, okay. First thing I'm curious about, the everything is all right. Why choose that phrase?
Really, I chose it because not only is it one of my favorite songs by Motion City Soundtrack.
I was hoping. I was hoping that was it.
I love
you said it, and I was like, please be Motion City.
I love Motion City Soundtrack, and I love that song. But also because, like, I suffer from a lot of anxieties and that kind of stuff. And when I can just look down and see, like, a reminder, like, yo, like, you're good, bro. That was helpful. Yeah. Plus, it was, I mean, I wanted, because I just gotten a little stick and poke kit. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what I was going to put on myself, but I figured, like, why not just go big and start with, like, one of the most difficult things to tattoo ever, text. Yeah. And stick and poke, my first tattoo ever, and then do it on my hand down my finger, which is super painful. Yeah. Like, I just went right for it, and it actually turned out pretty all right, no pun intended. It faded a lot because I clearly...
Finger.
Yeah, it's my index finger.
Yeah,
like, Yeah, but, it was... I think just a worthwhile experience to, like, put myself through that and just, like, go all out and try it.
What's the Play Dead about?
Play Dead, it's I don't know necessarily if I would call it my brand, but I guess it kind of is that at this point. Yeah. Anything I do or release, like when I was in high school, I started making, like, because I was big into film and I went to film school and stuff, and that's what I wanted to do for the longest. My film production company or whatever, which was really just me freelancing it, but I put everything out as Play Dead Pictures. Okay. It's got a nice ring to it. It does. You know, symmetrical, 4 letters and 4 letters. It kind of portrayed, like, I like shooting, like, darker, more, like, gritty, kind of, you know, sometimes violent kind of stuff. Yeah. So it just really kind of captured that whole vibe that I was going for, and it stuck. And then I was in, like I said, Stay Gold Collective. That's, like, kind of the same principle, but the other end of that spectrum, it was more, like, happier and hopeful and, like, you know.
Stay Gold.
Yeah, and then when I left Stay Gold, I just readopted Play Dead, because I was still making videos under Play Dead Pictures, and so I just kind of made that more of an umbrella to my music and my, like, merchandise branding, and everything else that I do creatively now is under the umbrella of Play Dead.
Play Dead, yeah. Cool, that's sweet. I like that, and you got it right up front.
Yeah, you know, and the knuckles it was kind of on a whim. I was at, I think it was Bluebird in Dayton, and one of my buddies was getting his palms tattooed, and both of them at the same time. Ooh. Yeah, so he was, like, going all out, and I'm sitting there, and it's like, A, I can afford it, and B, like, I want to just do something, because at this point it had been a couple years that I had not had a day job and I'd been strictly doing music, and I wanted something to kind of seal the deal on that, you know?
Yeah, something to, like, did it feel like almost like, all right, I'm gonna do this is my, like, no turning back thing.
Absolutely.
Like, this is my big, if I do this it's more to, like, yourself, of telling yourself, like, this solidifies in my mind some I guess a verification or validation that this is the decision I'm making and this is what's going to prove it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Needless to say, my parents were not thrilled about the fact that I have the word dead on my left hand. Yeah. But, you know, for all intents and purposes, it definitely kind of pushed me into that mindset of, this is your shit now. Like, this is what you're going to do. And if you can't make it work, like, there's no turning back. You're not going to go bust tables at Bravo anymore with these fuckers on your hand. Like, so here we go. Yeah. And I think it was actually helpful. Plus, they're so well done. The dude who did them, his name is Cookie. and he was like pretty renowned in the area for doing really good letter work. And he just happened to be open for that, 30 minutes or whatever. It took like no time. He free-handed the whole thing, and he was so excited when he got done with them. He was like, dude, I've never done this font before. I just created this typeface.
Cool.
And like, he was so happy with them. And dude, they, for being like a couple years old and a knuckle tattoo, they are dark as hell still.
They look solid.
Yeah,
From
and
he
did
did
a bang up job on them, and I am really fucking happy with him.
Do you so did you know about him before like you guys had gone there?
I had heard that he was like a good dude with lettering, but I had never really like met him or talked to him or anything before.
Do you like when you're gonna get a tattoo, do you like do a lot of research on who's gonna do it based on their talent and their style and stuff? Or do you just kind of go to
definitely like because I have a ton of friends with like a lot of really good tattoos, and they're a lot more plugged in than I am into like the whole tattoo scene. So I'll go to them and they'll have the right recommendations of like, yo, this is the guy you want to go to for that. And then I'll sometimes I'll shop around a little bit with something, but like typically it's a reference that I get, and then I go to that person because I trust my friend and I see work already done on them by that person, and I know that like.
And you're not seeing like, that's another thing too, is when you do that, you're seeing like people's art that they've had in real life, not a picture that was taken right after it was done.
Exactly. And it's like, okay, if that's a 2-year-old tattoo and it still looks like that, like I know this guy's probably not going to screw me up.
Yeah. Is all your stuff black and white, or do you have color?
The sleeve is color.
It's okay.
Everything else is black and white.
Gotcha.
And I kind of made a commitment to myself that like, this is going to be the only color tattoo on me, and the rest, if whatever else I get, is all black and white. So like this arm is just like this kind of mural.
Yeah.
And because it's all one piece, it makes more sense that it's all color. But otherwise, like, I prefer black and white tattoos, to be real. I was talked into doing this one in color. So, and I don't regret it at all. It just is not, I don't think, and I wear all black all the time anyway, so it really doesn't matter. But in my opinion, I prefer that sort of grayscale, black and white, real like dark lines kind of thing than, you can get some like real nice, beautiful watercolor looking tattoo. Not necessarily for me. Like that's gorgeous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's an amazing looking tattoo.
I'm a little dry right now, but it's decent.
for my personal taste and my body, like I feel like my aesthetic and my tastes lend themselves more to like dark black kind of tattoos.
Yeah, and for a minute I thought that's where I was gonna go, until like my first tattoo is color, second tattoo is like a gray, like a grayscale like background with like pieces of color, and then the next one was color, and then like the next one was color, and then I've got two. I've only got two that are just black. And what I've decided now is like, this is all color, this is all color down here. I'm like, the rest of this arm's just going to be black and white. I've got to have at least one area that has that. Plus, I think the contrast.
Yeah.
As much as I love like symmetry and things being balanced, I think black, like grayscale, black, whatever, and then color would be cool.
That's definitely like something that I surprised myself with, because I'm so much of a like, I love symmetry and like things being geometrically placed in the right spot, and like, or like if I have a square desk, everything has got to be on that grid.
A little bit of OCD. Yeah, I feel it.
But for my body, it's like this arm, the only tattoo I'm ever gonna get on this arm is already there. This tiny little
why is
belly.
that? Why'd you decide that?
I don't know. I like having
right.
the clean arm with just this one specific piece.
Yeah.
And then this arm it's already like full almost.
Yeah.
The biggest issue with this sleeve is that it's unfinished. It's been unfinished for like nearly 10 years.
Damn.
And the bother with it is that I don't want to go back to the guy who did it for reasons. I don't want to throw guy under the bus for anything, but like I don't like him, and so I'm not gonna go back.
Yeah,
he's a great tattoo artist, like amazing work, but don't want to go back to him and give him any more of my money.
Yeah.
Beyond that, nobody likes to finish something that's almost done. Like other tattoo artists don't really want to go there because it's not like they don't really get to have a whole lot of creativity with it.
Right.
It's like they don't want to show that at the end because it's like they did a third of it, you know.
Yeah.
So it's been real difficult for me to find anyone willing to even like try to work on it.
Right.
So anybody watching, if you're a tattoo artist in Dayton and you want to help me out, I got you. But I need this finished because it's been so just depressing to look at this unfinished.
What's unfinished about it?
Half of like the whole background is pretty much uncolored. It's just still line work.
Okay.
And even like the windfish, the whale on it it's still missing some detail and some color.
Yeah.
So like it's probably like 2/3 of the way done. The sleeve is a whole, but it's been so long now. The fox is all faded and it's almost back to like just skin color underneath the lines. And like the line work is great, but it's not enough to be like, okay, that's intentional, but it's also too much to be like, it's just line work and that could just be the tattoo like that. So
is it mainly like orangish, yellowish, reds? What color?
Well, the fox is all like oranges and reds. The catfish is like perfectly colored and great. It's like orange and green. Okay. And then the whale is like purple and kind of blues. Yeah. And so then everything else around it, all the background, like the underwater or like because there's like a log and like a little riverbed kind of thing. None of that is colored. It's all just line work. Gotcha. And some of the line work even is just sort of like guidelines to where it was gonna be this or that. So it like I look at it and I'm just like, oh, God, like, and some people think that it's like intentionally not all colored in. Yeah. But I know that it's supposed to be more, so it bothers me to even like look at it.
It's so weird how that works out because like when I started the octopus sleeve, we started it off like day one. He sketched it on my arm, like hand drew it, freehanded on my arm, and then we just laid down the outline and a little bit of shading. So it was just a grayscale octopus on the arm, and like that was it. And then like I had people like, "Oh, that's dope," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get it." "Oh no, bro, you should leave it like that." I'm like, "Yeah, but you don't understand where this is going."
Right. Everybody's got an opinion about it too, and it's like at the end of the day, it's your body and it's your piece, and you want it to be what you want it to be because you're gonna have to look at it on yourself and wear it for the rest of your life.
Like, don't get me wrong. At the time, I was like, it does look really cool. I think it is really cool like that, but it's gonna be so much cooler when it's a full art piece. That's finished.
I would be so much more inclined to wear a sleeveless shirt if this was finished. You know,
it's weird how that does that. Like,
are you the same way when like you get a tattoo? It's like hard not to like look at it all the time. Like you go in the mirror and just like, oh shit, like that's on me. Like bro, it doesn't cool. Like I feel cool now.
Bro, it doesn't even matter if I just got it. Also today I looked in the mirror. I'm like, look at that.
Right.
The shirt. Yeah, look at me. I look cool.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. There's something about getting a tattoo that like you feel like almost, in my opinion anyway, like I feel like I'm just like chipping away at this skin and that was already under there. Like I had already pictured it being there and it's finally
That's
out.
a little deep. That's a little deep. I'm gonna have to come back to that on my own time and really dive into that one because that's getting deep. I think I definitely have some that are 100% I feel that way, and others that are like, oh, this is a sticker.
Yeah, that it could go one of two ways for sure.
Yeah.
But a lot of mine, I feel much more like I've always wanted this thing here, and I've always seen it there, and now finally I can actually see it because like rather than putting it into me, it's taking the skin away, and it's like always been under there.
Yeah, that's really cool. That sends my mind in so many like philosophical directions and then like creative art like directions like. But before I run us off the cliff with that, okay, so I've never had a stick and poke. Are the stick and pokes more painful or less painful than
I wouldn't. Well, okay, so I have 2 stick and pokes that I've done on myself, right? Everything is all right in the little tiny heartogram here.
Yeah.
The Coco Pelli right here is also a stick and poke, but someone else did that. I did a show in Brooklyn, like 2016, I think it was. And I used to go, like every summer I would do this thing called the Brooklyn Wildlife Summer Festival. Mm-hmm. This big, like, multi-day festival that they would have, like, all over, like, Bushwick and Brooklyn area. and it would be like this big art and music festival, and they would have all kinds of different acts and whatever. Like huge cultural thing. I had a blast every time I went there. The last time I did it, I think was in 2016 in the summer. And after my set, there was, like they'd normally have like merch tables of different brands or different, whatever. At this kind of festival, they had like one of the tables was a stick and poke tattoo for $20. Like whatever you want.
Yeah.
As long as it's only like this big, she'll do it for $20. And I managed to like get off stage right in time to go over to her, and she had her last needle, like, it was like the last one. And it was a fat needle, like a big, like professional ass stick and poke needle, not like you're taking, a sewing needle like I did for these. It was like a thin ass needle. And this one did not hurt at all. Really? It was like probably one of the easiest tattoos I've ever gotten, and it has stayed. It's like really, it looks almost like pointillism in an intentional way.
Yeah.
These ones, however, this one kind of hurt. This one hurt a ton, but it's also my index finger, and it like literally wraps around to the base, like the pad of the finger. So this one kind of sucked, but once you're in it, like it's too late now. I'm not just gonna write everything on my hand.
Everything is.
Yeah. So. And I was running out of room too, so it got like all the way to like under my nail, basically.
Yeah.
But honestly, I am really good in the chair. I've been told that like I'm the easiest sitter for like multiple different tattoo artists that have worked on me.
Yeah.
Have told me like, bro, like I can't imagine like anybody being better. Like if somebody can't sit like you for the rest of my career, like I'm throwing them out, because like you were so easy. Like the whole back of my palm, I just sat there, and most people like hands are rough. Yeah. Knuckles, I did not feel at all.
Wow.
Literally just felt like somebody like kind of not even scratching. Like it wasn't even that.
Just like tapping on
like just pressure on it. Like it didn't hurt at all.
That's crazy.
And the back of my hand, like I just sat there it was like a 2-hour session, 3-hour session. And the dude was like, "Are you good, bro?" And like I was like, "Yeah, why?" And he's like, "I just like figured this was gonna hurt." Like it's like, because he blacked out a lot of it, just like like packed it in. I was loving it, dude. Like I don't know, I get the hardest area for me was like in the armpit, kind of right here.
Oh, yeah,
that sucked.
Yeah.
The small of your elbow, that wasn't great. And then
it's one of my least favorites.
The collarbone one, but this dude also was like pulling my skin up and doing it on the bone. This was like a $20 in some guy's basement tattoo though. So like I didn't expect, the greatest bedside manner on it, Yeah. But no, I'm not really like my pain threshold is pretty high as a human being regardless. So I think that I just
But yeah, you nailed all the parts that hurt the most for most people.
Yeah.
Pit, near the armpit, and then collarbone. The thing about collarbone for me wasn't like so much that it hurt. It just like as it goes up and it gets to the collarbone, like you can't see, and my brain just feels like he's right here, and like you feel it in the back of your head. You're like, what is happening?
And the vibration of it going like through your skull, and it just feels uncomfortable.
It's really uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's not. This wasn't. Yeah, I agree. It wasn't like so much as it was a painful experience as it was uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah. Do you what's like 2 questions, I guess, on one. What do you have like a next one planned? Do you have like what you want to get next?
Outside
of finishing the other
outside
one?
Of finishing that. If I put that aside and let's just say like I can snap my fingers, it's done. What would my next tattoo be?
Yeah.
I really want to get like how Rihanna has like that Egyptian wing, underneath, like on the lower side of the rib cage.
Yeah,
I want to get a flying fox, which is like the biggest bat in the world.
Yeah,
I want to get one of those wings like wrapped all the way up to like under my armpit.
Up here, yeah.
Yeah, so huge bat wings coming up like that.
Yeah.
I would love to get a neck piece, but I kind of don't really know if I want to go above this. For the longest time, I wanted a little guy right there.
Yeah.
I changed my mind on that one. Not only was that fad over pretty quick, it got like way overdone. You can look at somebody like Lil Xan, like, bro, your face is fucked. It is over for you, dude.
Yeah.
Like and it like looks bad. You like that drip under your eye. Like, why did you ever think that would be cool? But I think that people just took that so far that it went from being cool to being and like tasteful to being like just
it like jumped the shark.
Yeah,
it was like, okay, well,
it went.
It became a
meme. Like you make yourself a meme.
Yeah, it became once something becomes like a joke on Saturday Night Live. It's like, okay, that's no longer a.
And a lot of people, I feel like they're just doing the sticker thing. Like, let me just find a thing and put it wherever. Like, it's one thing if you get something that's like tasteful and it accentuates like your natural lines of your face.
Yeah.
You know, like I like the like down the sideburn kind of tattoo.
Like I mean, he has probably way too many now, but like when Post Malone first got the sword right here, I was like, that's pretty sick. That's pretty sick.
Like I think that for a lot of people that works, and like if that's all you got on your face, like that's cool. But when you like start just throwing stuff all up, and then it's like I lose the face,
the shape of what your face looks like.
Yeah, and to each their own. Like obviously this is all subjective,
right?
And it's just my personal opinion.
Cool, then
yeah,
hell yeah.
And that's the same thing with all tattoos. Like if it's your body and you think it looks cool, like absolutely, but don't expect me to necessarily agree with it either. Like
you know the artist Kasky?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen his new work?
No.
Dude, he's got
what?
Bro, he went crazy, and so he's got like basically there's like a thing eating his whole head. Like okay, if you put like teeth right here and then jaw and then it goes boom and then there's teeth at the top and goes down.
So he's wearing like the Hercules like lion head but in a tattoo form.
But in tattoo.
I mean, that's kind of a cool concept.
I mean,
it's original at the least.
It really is. And to like what you said about something that like frames your face well or like accents what your face already has, it kind of like does that for him. But it's also kind of like, whoa.
I mean,
and if you want to slide over, there's another picture.
For him, I honestly feel like it suits him.
It works.
It does.
It's a lot, but it works.
Yeah, I actually fuck with that. I think that's pretty damn cool, especially because he is like yatted all over.
Yeah, he's already.
And he's past the point where it's gonna make a difference to like the possibility of his success.
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
But it was like that's like a piece of art. You know, it's not like let me just put a bunch of random stuff on my face for the sake of having face tattoos.
It's not.
And
it's
hope
not
for the
trying
best.
to, like be trendy or an aesthetic. It's like, it's really
original as hell. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
So shout out Kasky.
For real. Do you have any plan? Because you have the sleeve. Do you have any plans or ideas of something that you want to be much bigger? Like, do you have like another really big piece in mind?
At some point, I would love to do a back piece, but I also, because I'm really into horimono. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's like the traditional Japanese like yakuza kind of you know, they basically like you can't see any tattoo other than if they're shirtless. Like, so if they put a suit on, like you wouldn't ever see an inch of it, but then they take it off and it's like the huge like shoulder piece, chest piece, big sleeve. Like, I would love for this sleeve to like branch into that kind of thing.
Yeah, and kind of spread.
And like spread to my back. But I also would like that to be done. If I was gonna do that, I would like want to go to Japan and get it done with like the big needle and the traditional application of it.
Right.
Just for like out of respect for it and out of
authenticity almost.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, like, wouldn't that be a sick ass pilgrimage? Like, fly over to Japan and get some like professional, like this guy's done this for 80 years, like old man with a little hammer and chisel in your back. Like, that would be awesome to do.
So, is the one that you have on your right arm, that's the only one you want there, is that just for aesthetics, or is that because the one that's already there holds a specific meaning?
Kind of both.
Okay.
I like the idea of having like one clean arm and one not, like the asymmetry of that. But I also, because like, so I don't know if you know what Kokopelli is. It's a Native American like spirit. I don't know if it would be considered a deity or a god or anything to them, but spirit of music and fertility. And when I was a little kid, my mom always used to call me Kokopelli or Pelli, just like that was my nickname as a little kid. And I'm really interested in like Native American culture and history.
What got you interested in that?
I don't know. I've always had like some affinity towards it.
I get it.
Pocahontas was my favorite Disney movie when I was a kid, you know, and I find that like a lot of their principles and mindsets and stuff are much more in tune with like my value system than most other things.
Right.
And to me, I wouldn't want to like negate this by getting like a big Southwestern style like sleeve around it. Beyond that, I feel like that would be like overkill. Like, because I'm not Native American, I don't feel like that's my place to really like. Like, I have a very specific history with Kokopelli as a thing,
right?
And like being a musician and it being like a spirit of music, and that like it makes sense to me.
The simplicity and size of that holds so much meaning that you don't need to overdo it with a bunch of fluff around.
Yeah, absolutely. And it wouldn't make sense to get like other random styles around it either.
Yeah, no.
And so just for my own like, and out of respect for that culture that, you know, I might have all this interest in, but I'm technically not a part of.
Yeah.
I would feel like I'm appropriating something or like being facetious to go out of my way to like add a bunch of Native American symbolism on my arm that isn't anything that I really like have any ownership of.
Right. So do you think that's your most meaningful tattoo that you have?
Yeah, probably. The heartogram also is super important to me, but that's just because I'm, you know, the way that I grew up and the stuff I was into, you know, I was big into skateboarding and Bam Margera and like all that. Him is one of my favorite bands. I've had Darklight in my CD changer since I was like 17. So it's like, it's important to me, but not in the same way that like the Kokopelli
Right,
is.
yeah.
This is like,
different.
This takes me back to like my childhood and like my relationship with my mom and stuff. So like this is a lot more of like a personal tattoo than anything else I have.
Right. Damn, dude. I keep having questions and they escape me because I get wrapped up in what we're talking about.
It happens, man.
Happens all the time.
I'm a good talker too. I could go.
Yeah. Oh, dude, let's talk about music.
Cool.
I feel like we've kind of gotten a good grip on everything.
Yeah, I'm running out of tattoos.
Yeah, I'm running out of questions. So let's talk about music.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
I'm trying not to ask the stupid questions that everybody asks because we talked about that earlier.
If you need to get the ball rolling, feel free.
Okay, I'm just gonna.
I don't even think I introduced myself yet, so we can.
No,
just do that.
yeah. Let's do this. This is gonna be more for other people. I'm just gonna lead questions that can let you kind of shine and promote and talk about what you want to talk about.
Cool.
So what's the latest release?
So if we're not talking singles, we're talking like my actual projects.
Yeah, let's talk latest project release.
Kairos, baby. Shout out to my boy Zach who got me this chain after I dropped that. It was like his present. Is the first chain I've ever owned.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but I dropped in I believe July or August. I can't remember exactly. I think it was either like July 30th or August 1st or something like that. I dropped a project called Kairos, which was I want to say like my 6th or 7th album release, depending on if you count like EPs and collab albums and stuff like that. And it was kind of like, I want to say like more of a directed approach to a release. I've had some projects that are, you know, still like an over-encompassing story. Like The Fox with Cloven Hooves is like very much so like a complete package of a story, but musically, like, kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, and that's sort of also my thing, like the versatility of like, if you listen to this album, no matter what kind of music you like, you'll find one song that'll hit you. Like, because I'll go anywhere from like, you know, some straight trap metal to like hip hop rap shit to sad boy acoustic guitar, and I'm singing, and there's like a minimal beat behind it to a straight up EDM dance track. You know, so like I'm kind of all over the place when it comes to like my genre or whatever.
Yeah, I remember like listening to that and like going through it, hitting something that would just like surprise and impress me, but just like, well, I was not seeing this coming.
Yeah, and that's sort of like I kind of thrive on that of like you're not gonna usually get more than one of the same thing on this song. There might be elements of, you know, I rap in 4 or 5 songs, but it's never like the same flow or the same kind of rap, and then maybe the whole mood of the song is completely different.
Yeah.
And I really like, I thrive on that because I don't feel stagnant. You know, I don't feel like I'm boxing myself in to like have this expectation of like, oh, well, if you don't have this flow on this song, then like people aren't gonna like it. It's like, well, now no one knows what to expect from me, so I can do whatever I want.
Right.
It gives me a little, you know,
you
breathing
freedom.
room.
You have so much freedom with that.
Yeah. But Kairos as a project was, I think I spent a lot more time really trying to like hone in on like, let me perfect these songs and make sure that like these are the best versions of them I can put out, rather than like have more songs that are just like different and maybe more like minimalistic or whatever. Because I do all my own production, I got a lot more into like adding little tiny bits of ear candy and making sure that the beat isn't just like a 8-bar loop over and over.
Yeah.
Because like as much as some songs are really good that have production like that, I have this skill set that allows me to make them not like that. And why would I, you know, not just spend an extra couple hours on this beat and add those little pieces of flavor and like pepper in, you know, this strange texture or this sound that maybe only occurs once in the song, but it creates a moment. And so for me to be able to do all that, I kind of really like took the reins on that and ran with it for Kairos. And it turned out to be a fucking great ass project. Like, not to toot my own horn, but beat the fuck beat. Like, and so right now I'm working on a new project, and I've kind of, the whole idea of like making the production like really intricate and unique, that is like times 10 on this new project.
Oh, you're going even deeper into
to the point where like I'm having trouble putting words over some of these beats because they are so good that I like have to like live up to the quality of the production. Like this will be the first album that I have a straight up instrumental song on it.
Okay.
Because like the beat is just so good. You know, I don't know if you ever listened to Linkin Park when you were growing up, but you know, like songs like Session or Cure for the Itch, where it's like just an instrumental song, maybe has some like vocal sampling in it, but it's not like verse, hook, bridge type song. That kind of song is on this album.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and I've taken a lot of inspiration from like early Linkin Park and the production side of this album.
Oh man.
So lots of very unique like drum sounds and patterns and synth. Oh dude, it's so good. And I can't like, it's hard to talk about it because I can't like really show anything for it yet, but it's,
oh man, that sounds exciting.
It's been a long time that I've been so excited about like getting an album done.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not even close to done yet, but it's to the point
where it's going in the process is just going really well.
And I a lot of times with my previous albums, I've spent kind of an equal amount of time on the production and the writing, and you know, done them simultaneously.
Do you ever write before you do the production for something?
Sometimes, yeah. If I'm, you know, a melody in my head or like a certain phrase or something, like I want to build off like, you know, a certain saying or a phrase that like it hits me, and I'm like, okay, how can I work that into a line or a hook or something? And then I'll just build off of that. And then somehow I've got to put that over top of a beat or build a beat around that melody. And like, that's, you know, it's all difficult in its own way because you're kind of putting puzzle pieces together that are from different boxes, you know? Right. But This album, I took the approach of do all the production first. If the beats are good enough to listen to with no vocals on them, then it's time to write to them.
Yeah.
And so I got to that point, and now I've got like 40 beats, and I've got to somehow narrow those down.
Oh, tough.
Yeah. And so
when you're making the instrumental, when you're making the beat, when you're making the music side of it, do you like start, because like kind of based on what you're talking about, do you start with like a melody or an idea or a concept or a vision in mind of kind of where you want this to go, or do you just start like do okay, I like that, let's build on that, I like that, let's build on that, and just kind of go almost stream of conscious creation?
It's never one way or the other. It can be either one. I've noticed for this specific project, a lot of it comes from me in the shower, like just like either beatboxing or like I'll just think of a melody. I'm like, oh shit. And then I just got to keep doing that in my head over and over and over until I get out of the shower and get like clothes on and can go downstairs and get on. Yeah. It's like, okay, got it. All right, now I can put it down. And then that's really what starts the ball rolling.
Yeah.
But, and even with, what element of the beat do I start with? It can go anywhere from I put a drum track down, or I'll like just put a really simple like hi-hat line just in order to keep the time, and then I'll do the bass line maybe, or I'll do a synth, or I'll sing on it, and then I'll have a scratch track of my vocals that I can now build around the chord progression of my voice. And like it's so up in the air at all times that like as long as I'm adding something to it, I can always be subtractive afterwards.
Right.
So a lot of times like I'll add too much, and I've got 35 layers of this 8-bar loop. Then I'll just run that and then just delete stuff to make it actually structured.
Yeah.
And
dude, it's so disappointing when you have like that one layer in there that you think is really cool, and as you're putting it together, you have it out of everything because you're like, it doesn't fit. This isn't, this doesn't go in the first verse. It's kind of too not in line. It's too much for the hook. Maybe I can throw it in a bridge somewhere or whatever. And then like you get through and you try to place that sound in places, and you're like, this sound's not going to go in this song. Yeah. This little part's not going to go in here. And it's like kind of depressing.
It is. It's sometimes like,
feels like you're abandoning like
a child.
I don't mean to abandon you, but
it's sometimes you have to be okay with like, this idea was really good, but it didn't work with this song. Maybe I can put it on a different one.
Right.
Or if you're like me, just throw a breakdown at the end with some random like make a dubstep breakdown and throw that shit in there, bro.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't fit this beat. Throw a beat switch, change the beat,
make a 8-bar beat at the end just to have a little outro and put that sound in there. Like,
oh dang, dude, I don't think I've ever done that, but that's actually kind of a brilliant idea.
It's almost like kind of a staple of my music to have at least like one song on every album has this weird switch up breakdown at the end. And especially me like having the background of EDM music. Like I started doing dubstep music when like Skrillex like nobody fucking knew. It was before bro step was a thing.
Yeah.
Like it was still such a fresh idea that like you could use like some of the most rudimentary sounds in a dubstep song and it didn't matter. It was just a 140 BPM kick, snare, and then some fucking wubs in the back, and that created a dubstep song, and that was sick. Wubs. Yeah. But I've always been a fan of, and I apply this in my music too. Skrillex like does the vocal resampling. He'll just chop like a one shot of a different note of his own voice singing, and it creates that like that kind of stuff. Yeah. I love that. That's like it's one of my favorite things to do.
That's one of my favorite things I hear, but I've never even attempted to do it.
It's very intricate work and like meticulous kind of work because you got to go through your whole take. Find that vowel sound at that key, and then get 15 of those little one shots of a 2 measure noise, and then rearrange all of them to create something, and then remix them, and then it's so much work, but at the end the product is so unique that it's like worth the time. Yeah. And a lot of people like, I don't know, like in my music I use a lot of like the glitching and like chops and like stuff that you would hear in like a Linkin Park song. Like I keep going back to Linkin Park, but they're clearly like my biggest inspiration musically. I do all that stuff, even my hi-hat rolls and stuff. Everything is individually placed piece by piece. A lot of people use one of those little dials where it's like it makes the hi-hat roll or whatever.
No, it's cut and paste.
Everything is very meticulously put one at a time in everything that I do production-wise. So, for better or worse, I'm sure it would be a lot quicker for me to use a little dial on it or like have those hi-hat roll samples or whatever, but I just would rather be in control of every little intricacy, and it creates a much more personal feel of like, this is my style. I didn't just get a 2-measure hi-hat roll and throw it in there for the sake of having that bounce or whatever.
Right. Are you into hyperpop at all?
I love hyperpop. I don't know if I could ever make it without it being like, I don't know, pretentious. Like, I feel like if I was going to do it, it would be because hyperpop's popular and I'm trying to get on that wave, not because I feel like I should be making hyperpop.
Okay, I got you.
I love it, but it's not necessarily like the closest thing to hyperpop that like I fuck with in terms of like I would make music like that is like Break-Ins.
That's who I was gonna.
I love Break-In so much, dude. He is so fucking awesome.
Another level.
Yeah. If there was one like hyperpop artist I would want to work with, obviously Dylan Brady's an amazing producer, and I've been a fan of his since way before 100 Gex. But Break-Ins, I think like he and I have similar like that Midwest sort of emo post whatever vocal.
Yeah.
Like real like. Lots of voice cracks and the vowel sounds are elongated and like overstated. I think that, and he's from Ohio. I think he's from Columbus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But if I was ever gonna like work with a hyperpop artist, if you even consider Break-Ins hyperpop, I would choose him for sure.
Likewise. I freaking love Break-Ins.
Plus, he's adorable.
He's
a cutie.
He's so cute. I was gonna lead that to something else, but I don't remember. Lately, I've been I don't know, just for my turn, real quick. I've been wanting to like make some trap metal stuff for like a while. Just didn't.
I've been seeing you post like on like some tweets about like making beats, like trap metal style beats.
Because I accidentally made this one a couple weeks ago. The one that I like recently posted about, made that video for. And because I started off like this really eerie, cool sound, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna make like a dark trap beat out of this." And I made a lot of it, and as I was making it, I'm like, "This is dumb. This is so stupid." And then I was like, I was doing something with my guitar earlier that day, so I'm like, I wonder. And I laid that on it, and I was like, "Oh,
that's it."
And so then I started layering different drums, more like live metal drum kit layers on it instead of like just regular trap stuff, and it took it to a whole level. I'm like, this is my favorite thing I've ever made.
Hell yeah.
And then I made another one that I'll be posting shortly that's like a little bit more, but what I've been trying to do with it though is like a little bit less on that one, a little bit more on this next one that's coming up, is kind of take in some hyperpop elements into trap metal, regarding like glitches, dropouts, random sounds that only happen once, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
Because that's something I never used to do. That like it's still hard for me to do. Because when you put in a sound, you're like, "Oh, that's so cool."
You
Where
want
else
it?
could
Like,
I put it? Like,
you want to like keep putting it everywhere.
But
it's like
making it just a singular moment is makes it so much more special.
And I think that's like from a production standpoint, it's difficult to like allow it to just be that one moment. But think of all of the songs that have that in them, those little one, like, just that only happened once. You're like, oh man, what happened to that? And then you run the song back.
Exactly.
And that becomes like maybe your favorite moment of the song, but because it's only once, it doesn't overstay its welcome.
Exactly.
Right? And it becomes more important, and it makes it feel more unique than like just a part of the loop.
Right. Like as an engineer, I run into something a lot where, with artists, if we're building, like the main thing that happens, there's like other different ways that this happens, but the main one is like when we're building the hook, and then I start having them add other layers or like harmonies or like other things to like kind of build it. I always try to make the chorus or the hook build every time it's in there. So
yes.
if it's 2, I always make the second one way big and the first one tame. If it's 3, I try to keep adding stuff to it.
And
what always happens is people be like, "Oh, dude, I love that. Can we make the first hook sound like that?" And I have to be like, "Okay, but hear me out."
The third time you hear this in the song, it's not going to be important anymore. Like,
right? Yeah, it's not. It's no longer special. Give them something to look forward to. Give them the part that, oh, I can't wait to sing that part. Like, we got to get. But hold on, let's even if they don't like the second verse, they're gonna want to hear that third hook.
Yeah.
Because you hit that high harmony that they're not.
Or it gets like real intense, and you start screaming on the last one.
Yeah,
it like gives them that release, that resolution of that build throughout the song, and then like the resolution hits, and it's a satisfying feeling as a listener to get that.
And I think some people, it's lost on some people that like what makes a song rewarding for someone to listen to is the play of tension and release.
Yeah.
The play of building suspense and then dropping it, or building suspense, faking them out, and then giving them something.
Feel like it's a tiny movie. It's a little tiny movie with no picture. Like,
exactly.
You got to give a beginning, middle, and end with a resolution. There's got to be a climax. There's got to be a build of tension. Like all the things you said, it's exactly the same thing as a film, just really truncated with no visuals.
Right. But like not every, because I was thinking about this. Not every film is set up the same, bell curve style where there's a climax in the middle and then you have your falling action and resolution. Because we were watching The Departed last night, and that's one of those movies that
is all over.
It's a straight up all tension building thing, and then in the last 5 minutes it climaxes, and then it brings you down a bit, and then boom, one last blow at the end.
Yeah.
And it's like you can structure a song like that, but you have to structure it like that. You have to, whatever you do in those first, the first 4/5 of that song, have to constantly be building that tension, or else you're gonna lose someone.
I think it's knowing the intent is like really key. Like a lot of artists, at least if you're like strictly a vocalist and like you just write lyrics and rap or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have the same approach or understanding of like what does this need to be through from beginning, middle to end, and what is my intention with it.
Right.
Like if I'm just going in and trying to write some clever bars for 16 bars, like there's plenty of really good songs that are just that.
Yeah.
But
as long as that's as long as that's your intention.
Yeah, but you're not gonna get what we're talking about out of something that is just that to you,
Right.
And you could have the greatest engineer or producer in the world that could try to like finagle something to do that.
If we add an effect here and we'll drop the beat here, stutter the beat here, let's add another layer here, and then you can try to give it a little bit more of that. But.
And that's like the the unsung heroes of every good song is the guys that aren't on it. And I'm just fortunate enough that like I have developed a skill set where I can be the producer and the engineer and like I just do it all myself, so I have control, and like my intent is in 3 lanes when I go into writing a song.
Right.
It's, the writing of the lyrics and the emotion in my voice, plus the production and how that accompanies each other, plus the engineering side of it, which is like, okay, we need to get rid of this layer here because it's like way too much for this like drop out of the beat. And every song is different clearly, but all of those elements need to like sit on top of each other, but not on top of each other. They need to sit
together
together rather than one covers one or the other up. And like how many great verses I've heard on a beat that's just a loop, and it's like this song could be better if the beat was like made for the
amount
song.
Of times I said this song could be better, but no, what you're talking about is one of the reasons that I'm such a fan of you is like the technical skills are there, but the creative skills and the ability to keep a listener engaged and write a song, make a piece of art, and then like do all of that well. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
It's impressive,
man.
and it's
thank
really
you very
good.
much.
So,
I really appreciate that, especially coming from you, from somebody who actually knows what the fuck they're talking about. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, man, it's great stuff. But you're right about the loop thing. Like I was working with someone yesterday, and the beat they had was essentially like an intro sample and then a loop, like a kind of a 16 bar loop for a while, and then the drums drop out, and then again the 16 bar loop a few times, and then like the outro sound. And I was like,
just that standard like YouTube producer, like,
right.
If all I got to do is make 8 bars of a beat and take some stuff out every 16.
But
like,
yeah, but it wasn't even really taking stuff out. Like there was a bell that wasn't in there for like the first 4, and then it wasn't in there, and then like that was about the only thing that like had variation to it. But luckily, the artist had gotten the track outs, so then I just sat there and I made tension and release. With just simple things as like, this is one of my favorite things to do that some of the producers that I work with, D-Swove and Vesta and Xander, shout out D-Swove, Vesta and Xander, is the simplicity of at the end of the hook going into the verse, just drop the first snare, clap, or whatever you're using as your whatever, just drop that first one and then bring it back on the second one, creates such a perfect beginning to a verse where it just leaves you hanging for a minute and then brings you back in. And I'm like,
that I feel like I've learned that principle from EDM, because drops are like the most important thing, especially in dubstep.
mm-hmm.
And if you think the drop's about to come, and then it like gives you like a 1 or 2 measures of like, oh wait, boom, and then it comes in. It's like, that's so satisfying as a listener. And if you can do that, and I love doing that, like exactly what you were just talking about, like the right as the verse comes in, like no 808, no bass line, just like a kick and no hi-hats.
Nope.
And then maybe like 1 snare and the hi-hats come in, and then boom. And it like, it gives you so much, that tension and release is so satisfying.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, man, one thing I've picked up on in the last several months is like especially people that bring in like 2-track beats, like it's just the wave or just the MP3, and we like lay everything down. One of the last things I do in the session is I go through and I fuck that shit up. I just start
beat cuts everywhere,
cutting stuff, stuttering stuff, creating new rhythms, making a big. I'm not gonna give away too many of my secrets. You can go listen to the songs and see what I did. But I always try to make the last hook of the song just be like, whoa, like what the fuck?
Just full. I just need
stupid.
That fullness of like sound. And there's a principle in EDM music of like, by the time the song is over, you should have like every frequency of sound should be going on, like from top to bottom, as long as it's like not the harsh ones. You should like feel like everything is hitting you all at once in this climax, and then it goes or whatever at the end, give one of those like whatever you want to call them, those like just the white noise release, just that.
Whenever I'm finding like beat drops for someone, I always try to find the part of the song that lyrically and the way they deliver it will be the part of the song that if they were performing live, that's the part the crowd would fucking yell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the part where I always cut the beat, because, like, I guess I'm thinking about it almost in terms of a DJ, where it's like, if we were doing it, well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always try to do that. That's my, like, that's how I think about where I'm going to do the things I do. That and just, like, musical phrasing.
Right.
Like, at the end of this 8-bar phrase, we need something to make a transition.
Yeah. Well, and you don't ever want your audience to get comfortable. Your listeners shouldn't ever be like trailing off because like the song is going on too long, or because that section is too repetitive, or because I don't ever want my listener to feel like bored of the song at this point.
But there's like a balance too, because like you can have a simple repetitive melody that goes on for quite a bit, but if the melody's right, like it won't get boring for a while, because you could like you're vibing and you're just singing along to it.
Well, and that also everything kind of comes back to like intention.
Right.
If you want to have just like a cool, chill, vibey song that people can throw on like when they're doing homework or something, that's, more so what you're going to want than
or sing along to without it being too difficult. You know what I mean?
I have such an what's the word? Not affinity, the opposite of that. Such I don't like it. I want to avoid it.
A distaste, what's
that word, bro?
Oh, what's the word?
Aversion.
Yes.
I have such an aversion to playing a hook twice in a row. I know sometimes it's necessary, and if you do it properly and you build on the second version of the hook, it can work. It just is hard for me to be okay with doing it.
Even if it's somewhat short.
If it's a 4-bar hook, then yeah, cool.
Okay.
But if you've got an 8-bar hook and then now all of a sudden it's 16 bars because you played it again, you better come correct on that second one.
You better do something different.
Yeah.
There better be a
big
new
beat switch and more harmonies, or you better start screaming it, or something.
Or change up some of the words so that it can grow into something.
Yeah, because, dude, there's nothing worse than getting to the end of an 8-bar hook and it starts again. And then I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. If someone wants an introduction to you and your music and what you're doing, what should they go listen to? And then where can they find places to follow you or see what you're about? And maybe check out the Play Dead brand, etc.
To pretty much to find anything I've ever done, really, you can either just Google RiverKinn, which is just River, Kinn, all one word. The K is capital. I swear to God, if people forget to capitalize that goddamn K one more time in a song title, I'm going to lose it. It's very easy. River with a capital R. Kin with 2 N's and a capital K, and it's all one word. There's no space, and the K is capital. I've said it a million times, and I probably will have to another million.
How disrespectful would it be if I?
It would be hilarious now because I know that.
I won't do that though.
But no, you can just either do Google me or go to riverkinn.com. All of my social medias are just at RiverKinn. If you want to, what would be a good introduction to me would either be listen to my album, The Fox with Cloven Hooves, or listen to Kairos, which is my most recent album. Because my music develops a lot and changes a lot as I go.
Yeah.
Fox with Cloven Hooves is a very complete project. It's one of the proudest projects I have. I'm really proud of it. But in terms of getting the update of this is the most modern, recent RiverKinn, Kairos is a really good way to start. And I still kind of hit all those, different check boxes in terms of style. And, you got the rap song, you got the sad boy acoustic song, you got the EDM dance song, you got all of the kind of elements of RiverKinn in that album as well. Otherwise, just adventure through my catalog. You'll find some stuff that you like.
Yeah.
It's really hard not to. There's so much of it. I've made over 100 songs in the last 5 years. So if you don't find anything in that whole 100 that you like, I appreciate you trying. You've done as good as you can.
Well, shit.
But Ash, thank you so much for having me, bro.
Thanks for being on.
Remember, appreciate it.
If you have something special to say, put it in ink.
Put it in ink.
Got my whole body, I don't give a fuck. You live once, you gotta live it up. So I got tats on my neck and on my face. When I come around, they tell me